Have you ever found yourself staring blindly at your ceiling at 2 in the morning? Your heart racing, your mind completely consumed by the thought of just one person? You replay every tiny interaction, every subtle text message, and every fleeting glance, analyzing them for hidden meanings. Your appetite vanishes, your focus at work or school shatters, and suddenly this one single individual has become the absolute center of your entire universe. It feels incredibly powerful. It feels destined. It feels exactly like the movies tell us love should feel. But what if your brain is entirely lying to you? What if this overwhelming, breathless emotion isn't love at all, but a temporary chemical hijacking of your nervous system? Welcome to the fascinating and often misunderstood world of relationship psychology, where the lines between a fleeting spark and a lifelong flame are incredibly blurred. Today, we are going to dive deep into a question that has plagued human beings for centuries. We're going to explore the complex dynamic of infatuation versus love, decode the true stages of a crush, and reveal the undeniable psychological signs you are falling in love rather than just chasing a chemical high. To truly understand this dynamic, we first have to look at the psychology of a crush. What exactly is infatuation? In the realm of love psychology, infatuation is defined as an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for someone. It is immediate, it is overwhelming, and it is almost entirely driven by idealized projections rather than reality. When you're infatuated, you're not actually seeing the human being standing in front of you. Instead, you're looking at a carefully constructed fantasy that your mind has built. You take a few attractive traits, maybe their smile, their confidence, or their mysterious aura, and your brain automatically fills in all the missing pieces with perfection. You assume they are completely kind, entirely loyal, and perfectly compatible with you, despite having absolutely zero evidence to back this up. This is a cognitive bias at work, fueled by a massive surge of neurotransmitters. Your brain is flooding your system with dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. This neurochemical cocktail is remarkably similar to the brain's reaction to addictive substances. It creates a state of euphoria, intense energy, and obsessive focus. You feel high, but just like any intense chemical high, it's fundamentally unstable and impossible to maintain over the long term. Understanding infatuation requires us to break down the highly predictable stages of a crush. Whether you're looking at female psychology or men's psychology, the initial biological and psychological responses to intense attraction follow a remarkably similar pattern. The first phase is the immediate spark, the sudden realization of attraction. This is purely superficial. Almost instantly, you move into the second phase, crystallization. This is where the obsession truly takes root. During crystallization, you begin to hyper-focus on the target of your affection. You dissect their social media, you overanalyze their words, and you construct elaborate daydreams about your future together. You are actively building the pedestal you're about to place them on. The third stage is where things become chaotic, the phase of uncertainty and anxiety. Because your feelings are so intense, your fear of rejection becomes paralyzing. Every time they take too long to reply to a message, your dopamine drops, and your cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. You're riding an emotional roller coaster. Finally, every crush reaches the fourth stage, which is the tipping point. The infatuation will either slowly fade as reality sets in, or if the circumstances are right, it will begin the slow, complex transition into actual love. But what does that transition look like? This brings us to the core of relationship psychology, the fundamental differences in infatuation versus love. If infatuation is a blazing, out-of-control wildfire that consumes everything in its path, love is a steady, well-tended hearth fire that provides lasting warmth. Infatuation happens to you. It's a passive state. True love, however, is an active choice. It is a conscious decision to care for someone and to commit to them even when the initial euphoria has faded. To truly understand this dynamic, we first have to look at the psychology of a crush. One of the most glaring differences between the two lies in how they handle time and reality. Infatuation is incredibly impatient. It demands immediate satisfaction and constant validation. Love psychology shows us that genuine love is inherently patient. It understands that building a profound emotional connection takes time. Furthermore, infatuation demands absolute perfection. Because it's based on a fantasy, it cannot handle the messy, complicated realities of a real human being. Love, on the other hand, embraces imperfections. When you genuinely love someone, you see their flaws, you acknowledge their baggage, and you choose them anyway. You accept their humanity without losing your admiration for them. So, how can you objectively analyze your own feelings? Let's decode the specific, scientifically backed signs you are falling in love, separating the reality of deep emotional connection from the fleeting shadow of infatuation. First, consider your sense of security and trust. When you're infatuated, jealousy and possessiveness often reign supreme. True love, however, breeds profound trust. You feel secure. There is a deep, quiet confidence that you are chosen and valued. Second, examine how you handle distance and separation. Infatuation struggles immensely with absence, leading to obsessive fixation. In love psychology, distance might bring a natural feeling of missing the person, but the emotional connection remains solid and unwavering. Third, examine your willingness to sacrifice. Infatuation is fundamentally selfish. It's primarily concerned about how the other person makes you feel. Love is inherently selfless. You genuinely care about their happiness, even if it requires compromise on your part. Fourth, pay attention to how you feel about yourself. A highly toxic aspect of extreme infatuation is that it can erode your self-esteem, making you walk on eggshells to keep the fantasy alive. One of the greatest signs of love is the freedom to be authentically yourself. Love elevates your sense of self-worth because you are fully seen and fully accepted. Fifth, analyze your vision of the future. When you're infatuated, your thoughts of the future are often vague, hyper-romanticized daydreams. When you are falling in love, you begin to factor them into your actual practical future. You want to build a real life with them, not just escape into a fantasy. Understanding the profound differences between infatuation versus love is not meant to ruin the fun of having a crush. It's perfectly okay to enjoy the dopamine rush and the thrill of getting to know someone new, but it is absolutely vital to recognize these feelings for what they are. By acknowledging the psychology behind attraction, you empower yourself to navigate the dating world with clarity and intention. You stop chasing the chaotic highs of temporary obsession and start looking for the quiet, enduring markers of a true emotional connection. Ultimately, love is not just something you fall into, it's something you build, layer by layer, through mutual respect, unwavering trust, and the courageous choice to see someone exactly as they are. It's moving past the illusion, surviving the disappointment of reality, and deciding that the flawed, beautiful truth of the person in front of you is infinitely better than any fantasy your mind could ever create.